The NBA world is buzzing right now, and the news out of Dallas is massive. According to ESPN and multiple sources, the Dallas Mavericks are expected to fire their general manager, Nico Harrison, after a turbulent few months that completely changed the direction of the franchise. This move comes after one of the most controversial trades in recent NBA history, the decision to send superstar Luka Dončić to the Los Angeles Lakers. Today, we're breaking down what happened, why it happened, and what this means for the Mavericks moving forward. Let's start with a story. Sources say that Mavericks team governor Patrick Dumont is set to meet with Harrison at 10 a.m. Central Time to officially relieve him of his duties as general manager. Assistant general managers Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi are expected to take over basketball operations on an interim basis, while the team searches for a permanent replacement. So, how did it get to this point? The answer begins with one trade that sent shockwaves across the league. On February 2nd, Nico Harrison pulled the trigger on a blockbuster deal, sending Luka Dončić to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Mavericks received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a future first-round pick in return. Harrison reportedly convinced team governor Patrick Dumont that re-signing Dončić to a supermax extension wasn't the best move because of what he called persistent conditioning concerns. Dumont initially agreed, but sources say he since privately expressed regret over that decision. After the trade, everything fell apart. The Mavericks' on-court performance nosedived. Without Dončić, they struggled to find rhythm, chemistry, or leadership. They were eventually eliminated by the Memphis Grizzlies in the final Western Conference play-in game. The trade assets they received didn't deliver as expected either. Anthony Davis was battling an abdominal injury at the time of the trade and later missed significant games. Max Christie showed flashes of promise, but couldn't fill the superstar gap that Dončić left behind. During Harrison's 4+ years as general manager, the Mavericks posted a 182 and 157 record overall. When Luka Dončić played, the team went 135 and 88. Without him, they were just 47 and 69. That difference tells a whole story. The Mavericks simply weren't the same team without their star player. And once Harrison made the decision to trade him, the franchise's stability was doomed. Fan reaction was immediate and brutal. Chants of "Fire Nico" started echoing throughout the American Airlines Center. On social media, fans flooded the team's accounts with frustration, memes, and demands for accountability. It wasn't just disappointment, it was outrage. Dončić was seen as the face of the franchise, the player who could bring Dallas back to championship contention. Trading him away for a 31-year-old big man with a long injury history didn't sit well with anyone. Behind the scenes, tension reportedly grew between Harrison and Dumont. Ownership had hoped the trade would open a new chapter, pairing Davis with Kyrie Irving in a different kind of dynamic duo. But instead, it led to confusion, regression, and a locker room full of uncertainty. The Mavericks started this season with a 3-8 record, and frustration continued to mount. For Dumont, who took over as majority owner just a year ago, this became the breaking point. So, why is Nico Harrison being fired now? There are a few reasons. First, the obvious one, the trade of Luka Dončić backfired spectacularly. It's the kind of move that defines a GM's legacy, and this one will likely go down as one of the most regrettable in franchise history. Second, the team's performance and lack of direction made it clear that the front office needed a reset. Third, public and internal pressure reached a boiling point. The fans had lost faith, and even within the organization, there were doubts about Harrison's long-term vision. Harrison was originally hired in 2021 after a successful career with Nike, where he was known for his player relationships and marketing savvy. At the time, his unconventional background made him a fascinating hire. Someone expected to bring a new kind of leadership to the Mavericks. For a while, it looked like it might work. Dallas reached the Western Conference Finals in 2022, showing real promise around Dončić. But since then, the team's moves have been inconsistent, from the failed Kristaps Porzingis experiment to the short-lived pairing of Dončić and Irving. The Dončić trade was simply the last straw. So what happens next? The interim leadership team of Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi will handle operations for now. Finley, a former Maverick star, has deep ties to the organization and a reputation for player development and relationship management. Riccardi, meanwhile, is known for his analytical and scouting expertise. Together, they'll try to stabilize the team and chart a path forward. But the big question remains, where do the Mavericks go from here? Without Luka Dončić, their identity is in question. Anthony Davis is a superstar when healthy, but durability has always been a concern. Kyrie Irving continues to produce offensively, but the roster around him doesn't yet look ready to contend in the loaded Western Conference. For Mavericks fans, this moment is bittersweet. On one hand, firing Nico Harrison might feel like justice after a disastrous season. On the other, it's a reminder of how quickly things can fall apart in the NBA. Just a few years ago, Dallas looked like a young team on the rise, powered by one of the best players in the world. Now, they're starting over. Again, the firing of Nico Harrison marks the end of an era, one that began with high hopes but ended in chaos. It's a cautionary tale about bold moves, franchise players, and the razor-thin margin between vision and mistake. For Harrison, this will likely define his tenure. For the Mavericks, it's a chance to rebuild, if they can find the right leadership to guide them forward. This is the NBA. Moves like this can make or break a franchise. The question now is, can the Dallas Mavericks recover from this one? Only time will tell. That's the latest on the developing story. Nico Harrison fired as general manager of the Dallas Mavericks.